Hello, hello. My name is Kim Addis. I am the president and founder of Frame of Mind Coaching, and you have just joined the Frame of Mind Coaching podcast, where we welcome leaders from all over the world to come onto the podcast and get coached live and in person. Today, I have a guest who's actually almost my neighbor. Her name is Monika Jazyk, and she is the president and founder of Real Property Investments. Monika, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
So tell us about Real Property Investments. What do you do? Tell us about you.
Well, as you said, my name is Monika Jazyk. I'm the founder of Real Property Investments. We started Real Property Investments about 11 years ago, and it's the world's fastest growing real estate investment community across the globe. So we started off as just in our area, which is Toronto, and expanded different real estate investment chapters across Ontario, and then extended even furthermore across Canada, the US, and now we've recently expanded into Australia, which is really exciting.
So what do you mean by real estate community, investment community? So it's people who come together, pool their money and invest? How does it work?
You know what, everyone always thinks that, and it's great, but our real premise at Real Property is more we're real estate investment specialists and wealth builders. So we aim to educate and empower everyday people to learn how to invest like the top 2%. Now, we do believe real estate is the number one asset class, and 90% of the world's millionaires all invest in real estate, where only 6% of the general population actually invest in real estate. So most people are following traditional financial planning advice, if they're following anything at all. And we're here to provide an alternative perspective on financial education and really kind of bring to light some investment opportunities, strategies, and different sort of mindset about finances that everyday people can apply to their current situation, and then really start to transforming their wealth and learn how to invest like the top 2%.
So really you're saying real estate is a great investment and we should be investing more in real estate.
Real estate is the number one wealth building tool, and everyone needs to have real estate in their portfolio of some sort of sort. It doesn't always involve buying an active home. It could also be, having passive investment opportunities, but it's also more so the understanding of finances, how money works, and how they can apply real estate to their personal circumstance and really get control of their situation.
The other day I was on Facebook, and I am connected with a lot of real estate people in the world because I used to be involved in the real estate industry. Not because I was a real estate agent, but I used to own a software company, and we used to provide simulation-based assessments for real estate brokers to help them hire and recruit new real estate agents. So I know a lot of real estate people. But I was on Facebook and I was looking through my feed, and there was a gentleman who said, hey, there's this house for sale in New Jersey somewhere. And it was like going for $850,000, and it was like a mansion, right? And I thought, oh my God, that house in Toronto would easily be worth $3 million.
I've been really confused about that New Jersey market, because I saw those housewives of New Jersey selling their homes for $2.5 million. I'm like, that would be $13 million.
I know. And so I literally turned to my husband and I said, you want to buy this? What do you think? You want to buy it? And we kind of looked at it a little more closely, and the rooms are a little small and whatever. Anyway, we passed. But I think that, to be honest, like I have a home in Florida, but I am a little gun shy about buying property as an investment opportunity because I feel like I don't want the responsibility of having to find someone to rent it and to maintain it and all that stuff. But it sounds like you help take care of people and how they think about buying real estate and make it a little less daunting.
Absolutely. So one way that, wealthy people think and live their lives, and the top 2% live their lives, is they're very reluctant to do anything on their own. they have a team of experts really behind them, and they utilize their resources to help them, improve their lives in every single aspect, from health, from fitness, from, development, like personal development. People really kind of figure fast, whereas more middle class, everyday people are really all these DIYers, and they want to achieve it themselves. Now, that could be really detrimental to people because they want to save the money and do it all on their own, or they feel like they're scared of being taken advantage of. But in reality, if you know how to access the right people, the right group, or use the right coach, they can really get you there faster, saving you that time and money. So it's actually cost efficient to use your experts.
I should hire you as my spokesperson.
I love collaborating with smart, brilliant professionals like yourself and aligning businesses. And like, that's the people I love, to have in my network, because and that's why I wanted to come on your podcast, because when you see people doing great things, why wouldn't you want to be part of that? So many people aren't doing great things. They just complain about, the status quo and about everything going on. Like, I'm on the premiere updates, and I find it more interesting watching the comments coming up than listening to the announcement, because everyone has comments and things to say, but what are you going to do about it? Okay, you don't like this, so now what? Like, where is the solution? I like solutions-driven people who really solve people's problems and make life better for others.
It's very interesting because I teach leaders to invite people in their team, right? Because I work with leaders primarily. And so one of the complaints is that everybody comes to me with their problems. I'm like, great, problems are wonderful because it gives us opportunities to solve them. But teach your people to identify a problem and 3 possible solutions. So don't come to me just with a problem, come to me with a problem and some ways to fix it. All right, so let's change gears here. What is your greatest challenge? You're on the Frame of Mind Coaching podcast. Let's go.
So our greatest challenge really is, we are determined to help 1 million people across the globe to educate and empower people by being part of this community and really encouraging them to build wealth today and really get control over their finances. And just really, it's a mindset shift thing, starting to think different, act different, and in turn, eventually invest different. So the problem with the real estate investment community and world is, one, most people do exactly what you thought that I did, which is I'm going to collect all your money and invest on your behalf, and you can invest with me. In essence, I'd be a fund manager. And I've decided not to do that, because if I was a fund manager, that's all I would do. Whereas my real goal is to help educate and empower as many people as possible. The second thing is to develop high-end coaching. And most real estate communities or courses, this is why they're in this $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 price point, because only such a small portion of the world's population taps into that. And their main goal is to become full-time real estate investors and create their own empire. Whereas, once again, we are really here to be game changers and really end problems that are occurring in society, such as most people living paycheck to paycheck, most people not being able to afford to retire, and most people, going and starting their adult life, never being able to be a homeowner or saddled with student debt.
Yeah.
And so this is really, we know how we could help people with one property or even this mindset change, just sort of tweak their investments and really educate and empower to help them achieve all these goals. So the challenge really is, I don't want to charge people $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 for these things. How could we help as many people as possible? But it's already reaching out to people who are they don't even know they want to invest in real estate yet, if you know what I'm saying.
So it's interesting, right? Because right away, when you came onto the podcast, I said, oh, so it's a community. So you're pooling people's money. And so for me, there's a bit of a branding mix-up. Okay, like it's a bit of a branding mix-up, because what you're really saying is, we're a coaching company, we're an education company. And that's not what I thought. So
Mhm.
the messaging is mixing me up. So let's just start there, right? And if you say you're not the only one who sees that, then I'm not the anomaly, right? And so the question is, what is the messaging you're putting out there that helps us understand that you're actually an education company, a training company, a coaching company? Because right now, that's not coming across at all. Sounds like you're an investment company. Even the title, right? Real Property Investments sounds like you're an investment firm. And so maybe there's a little tweak to the rebranding. Maybe there's the word education in there. Maybe there's the word, um, I don't know, coaching or training or something like that, right? I'm not really sure, but I think that's a starting point to help people understand what is the service you're actually delivering. That's part A. Part B is this. So everybody knows I got a bunch of kids. I have 5 of them, and they're all between the ages of 21 and now almost 28. And they're in that age range where they're looking at their own bank accounts, their own investments, their own their own wealth, and they're panicking, specifically in Toronto, because the cost of property is really high. And so they're just coming out of school, they're starting their careers, they're ready to buy something new, and it's hard for them to figure that out. So from my perspective, that's your market. It's the market of people who are trying to figure out how to create independence. And so when you're talking about financial wealth, to me, that couples with a concept of independence, right? So
Right.
there are all these young people, there are like 29-year-olds who are still living at home because they don't know how to get out of that. And so to me, there are 2 markets, right? The one market is that young person who's dying to get out on their own and figure it out and build their wealth and have their own place and cook their own food and do all that stuff. But there's also the parents who are going, I'm ready for them to go. I'm ready for them to
Mhm.
go. How do we do this together? How do we help them get out in a way that's not gonna strangle us financially? Right? So,
Absolutely.
right.
And our market really with the parents is kind of, we often work with the parents, and because our avatar really is this sort of 35 to 55 married couples who have kids. They are professional people. They're doing everything the right way. That's our main avatar. And we show them how they could help their kids in advance. So whether their kids are about to go to school or even if they're adult kids, how you can create some of these opportunities or even do it. We've had some older parents with older kids joint venture with them, or the kids use their parents as joint ventures, also vice versa, because we do have young members as well, which is
Yeah.
really exciting, even though it's kind of that 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
But that's really kind of what we get them to help them out. That's really the number one way that we work with parents to help their kids when we have kids that come in, which aren't kids. I'm talking about younger people, maybe under 30,
Yeah.
with their struggles. We show them either one of 2 things, and it's one, how to get started, using their parents as joint venture partners if they don't have that income or buying power yet, as well as making more money through more active real estate strategies. So we do advise on, say, flipping homes or house hacking or creative financing, so they can kind of get into the market at that young age and build their wealth from there.
Yeah. So, I mean, my own experience is that for me personally, whenever I go out there and speak, and what I mean by speaking is literally teaching people how to coach, for example, they get exposed to how we coach. And then they get excited about what we do. And they say, can you work with my team? Can you work with my company? Can you coach my senior leaders? So it's literally delivering the information, the value, the education in a small compartment, right? Like, I can't teach somebody how to coach in 3 hours, right? I do my best, but truly it's a bigger endeavor. But I give them a feeling and I give them a ton of value. But for you, it's really about, correcting the positioning,
Yeah, I agree
right?
entirely.
Correct the positioning so that you're an education firm as opposed to an investment firm. Because, you know, again, as a parent, as an individual, if I say, oh my God, I don't know how to do this, I need to go learn. I need to go, kind of get over all the fears, the worries, the humps that I have in my mind with respect to investing in property, now I know you're available, but I didn't know that before. If I did a Google search for like help, I don't know that I would flag you because it's not connecting. The synaptic charges aren't coming together for me. I see, right? And so I think that's the opportunity for you, is to say, how do we really message what we do so that we're known as an education coaching house, as opposed to,
And aside from the verbal tag on, which is the networking group. And so we are the Real Property Investments. That's the name of the company. And then the networking group is the education component, but that's not what's on the website. And so we were kind of repurposing our language on the website, which I love what you're saying, because that's the first thing I'm going to definitely start honing in on. More than we've done over $100 million in acquisitions. Who cares? Like no one really cares about that. They care more only if we were an investment fund, that would be hitting on that head more so.
Well, also you're $100 million, you've made $100 million in acquisitions. And for the person who's scared, that seems inaccessible. They're like, whoa, that's out of my league. So what you've done in effect is move me away from you as opposed to move me towards you, if that makes any sense. So, I think the language is, hey, do you want to secure your financial future? Are you afraid to make, real estate investments? This could be the best way to do that. And if you're green and uncomfortable, we can help you. Here's how, right? That's a totally different approach.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. A lot more inviting and less corporate than we were initially proposing. And I'm sure you understand this as well, when you are in an industry, I think maybe what entrepreneurs do, and when you're in an industry like finance and wealth and real estate and business, I'm working with a lot of different high profile people. I think the to be taken seriously, people put their serious foot forward and start really snowballing words around like acquisitions and, and really in reality, I think the general people make it very corporate looking, whereas in reality, it should be more inviting and approachable to the everyday person, because you are spot on with that misconception.
Right. And really what you're trying to say is, hey, you're not a real estate expert. You're not a financial expert, but you can leverage and benefit from being involved in real estate investments. And we can help you do that. Right. So that's totally different. You're saying, hey, let me take your hand and bring you on this journey that will benefit you greatly down the road.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And one other struggle too is because I am one of the nation's leading authorities in investments and real estate and wealth building, but I don't want my mug on this business. And when we did our expansion, because we are building an actual company, although we may act as the founders and in turn influencers, look what we've achieved. If you'd like to do something similar, we have facilitators for each one of our areas. A lot of them actually are our members that have now started working with us because they've achieved that same wealth, going through the same systems. And they too are the ones that are now spreading the word. So we want it to be a lot more, not just the All About Monika show. And what I think is so great, we want it to really be about the people and what they're trying to achieve. So
you have a huge opportunity to grab stories, so you have a young couple, they're both working, they're doing the thing they do, the grind, and then they get involved with you and then they invest in real estate. And now their financial picture is very different. And so you have the ability to grab those stories in video form, in written form, in article form, in interview form, right? You have the ability to do that. And so it's no longer the Monika show, right? It's the let's feature our success stories show, right? Right. And so
feature our experts. That's what we're really building Wealth towards, where we want the community to be like a wealth building community where people can come, and we're building this online component so it really can have that DIY aspect,
right,
as well as they can utilize coaching services. So we're building out a store with courses and different coaching offers, but it's not just us. It's as we build our team, we have all their offerings in there as well. So people can learn from global experts really on what make it all about the person who's experiencing it.
Right. And I mean, there are two pictures. Two ideas is feature the expert, but feature the person that expert served or helped. Right. So here's the story. I worked with this expert. Here was the outcome. Right. So you have those both, right? Because that helps you build your credibility. That helps you, right? When I'm listening to it, I'm like, wow, I relate to that person who hired the expert. And that's, so you want both of those in your mix.
That's a great option. And when the facilitators do their intro presentations for events and all that, they actually incorporate their story, which is really, really meaningful and impactful, because I wanted it to expand from just my story to all these different kinds of stories out there. And so people can, like you said, relate it to their stories. And that's why whenever we go into a new area, we really find an expert from that area, because after people learn all this amazing information, the next thing we want them to do is transact and actually invest, not so we can make money, but because they're not going to make money until they pull the trigger and invest. People have so much knowledge, but they're not going. So we feel that people learn better from people who are in their community, people that they can relate to, and they're also proven experts that have already proven that wealth in that community. And we work with that expert to make sure they're doing the right thing. But one question that I really have too is, as we expand to these different areas and we're working with different experts, we are also kind of exploring, because I don't want to sell the expensive coaching packages, $20,000, $50,000, $100,000. I want this to be accessible to everyday people. And anyone who went on our website will see how accessible this really is. For people to add to their budget, to really put wealth to the forefront and start building wealth today, is that the problem really is as a scalable company and someone who's setting to scale their company and make a very, impressive income goal, is we are forfeiting that. It's like collecting the small amounts are harder. I'm wondering if you'd have we are thinking of franchising, so we can in turn service the everyday people for a lower fee, while also providing this opportunity for someone else to run as a business in these areas.
Well, here's a question. What are you franchising exactly? Is it intellectual property? Is it a system? Is it a methodology? Is it a framework? Is it an approach? Is it a curriculum? What are you franchising? And
it's access to all of the above. Okay. Yeah, because they would have access to the whole online network.
Okay. So, I mean, that's an option. Another option is certification, right? We certify people in this methodology, and so they come in, they have their great experience, and then we certify them. And so that's another stream of income for you. And so the other thing that comes to my mind is, where your prices are accessible to the general public, maybe there are levels of involvement and engagement where you have a client who comes in, but you keep them in for a while. And not only through membership, but through added service or added sharing of intellectual property or added training. So that's another way of looking at that picture, where you're maintaining your intellectual property, but at the same time, you're inviting people to get involved at higher and higher and higher levels of depth.
So we had a way too confusing levels before. So we recently have restructured to 3 different levels.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot more clear for people on how they can come in and how they can get the assistance they need. And I love the fact that to retain the customer, we have the monthly option, but we do have, if they pay up front for a year, it's a 50% reduction. So in that, they save the money, but we retain the customer, rather than letting your person have to subscribe month after month. But some people really need that too. Yeah. And we want people to be comfortable when they make the, when they move forward with our company, because we want them to be open and excited about learning, not feeling like, they're trapped.
Yeah,
in exactly. The community.
And at the same time, you're going to have real keeners, people who are super excited, and they're not only willing to pay you up front, but they want more. And they're asking you, what more can you give me? I'm ready for more. I'm ready to get engaged. I'm ready, I'm ready. So you have to have that next step available for people who are looking to get involved with you at a deeper level.
Absolutely. Totally agree.
Yeah. I hope that was helpful.
No, that was really helpful. That was exceptional. Thank you so much. You were really on point, and I can't wait now that I have to redo the website write up. I'm trying to think of maybe not a total rebranding play, but how to kind of soften the corporate image and really kind of take that networking component from verbal and incorporate it more into the actual first thing that people see when they come to the website.
Yeah. And again, like even just adding the word like training or coaching, something that gives people an understanding of, I'm coming here to learn. I'm not coming here to just hand over my money and they're going to do something with it. Right. So just to, it's funny. I've always been a believer in when you create a name for your business, tell people what it does. So in this, I run Frame of Mind coaching. It's pretty clear, right? It's just pretty
Absolutely.
clear, right?
Well,
So
I think always the tagline on our business too that we always go on is real property investments, helping real people build real wealth through real estate and alternative investments. And that's kind of like, it was always really important to me to get the real in there. So it's not just the play on words with the real estate, but I guess it resonates with my experience as a real person. And people will joke and say, what's a real person? A person who really is trying pretty darn hard to make it through this world and realizes how tough, it really is to build wealth. So that's really.
And you might want to add to that, real people learn real investment strategies.
Absolutely.
Right. So you just want to add the learn piece.
Very impactful. Thank you.
Amazing. Where do people find you if they're looking for you?
rpinvestments.ca.
Amazing. Monika, thank you so much for being on the podcast, for sharing your time, your story, for being open to coaching. I really appreciate it. For those of you who are listening, and if you have a challenge that you want to share on the podcast, please reach out to me. My email address is kim@frameofmindcoaching.com. If you have a challenge that you want to talk about, but maybe not so much on a podcast, please reach out to me as well. My email address is kim@frameofmindcoaching.com. For those of you who are listening, please please share, please make a comment, spread the news. We really need as much support as we can get, and we appreciate you tuning in. Monika, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.